for their fondness of blue hedgehogs, Italian plumbers, and night elves. There is a place where those that are persecuted can find solace and walls, where like-minded geeks can join forces and together grow stronger, as together they can wield unimaginary power, invade enemy lines, and loot bosses. Together, they are Epic Geeks.
Welcome, Game Geeks everywhere, to the episode number 21. I nearly forgot what I was going to say there. For Sunday the 15th of February 2015, the day after Valentine's Day and 2 days after Friday the 13th. I hope everyone survived that one. Today on the show, we have got... What have we got? I can't remember. We have got Apple finds a solution to microtransactions, new Rise of the Tomb Raider details revealed, Destiny dev hires Guild Wars 2 writer to work as a lawmaster, and ESO Crown Store. We discussed that, and we have a look at Evolve as well. So, with me, the hosts, we have Mr. Thomas McIlroy, otherwise known as Britzza. How are you, Tom?
I'm not too bad, thank you. I can't believe this is the first show I've done on the sort of year anniversary side of this.
It is.
We've been doing it for over a year now, but wow.
I was trying to remember
when
we first did our first show, like together as a group. It was February, wasn't it?
Was it in February? Oh, so we must be a year now.
Anniversary. We probably missed our anniversary, Tom.
Oh.
After Valentine's Day. That's terrible.
I'm sorry. You're probably going to blame me. That's how these things work.
Yeah, I'm sure that, we can celebrate it in other ways.
Better luck next year.
Maybe next year.
Next year. No, I'm doing well, thanks. It's good to actually. Well, this is going to sound awful now. I've said this. It's good to be back on the show. Obviously, been doing a lot of Geeks of Azeroth for the last 7 months, so I'm glad I'm actually going to be talking about gaming and the other stuff I've been doing.
Geeks of Azeroth is going. You've had like 24 episodes or something now, haven't you?
We're
a weekly show.
Well, as it stands, I'm about to upload episode 28.
Nice.
So we're a quarter of the way to 100.
And I saw the other guys were on rail maintenance as well the other week.
Yes, noticeably without me. We decided to put the best forward. I didn't make the cut. No. It's going well, really well over there. So anyone who's listening hasn't checked it out and is a bit of a World of Warcraft fan, give it a listen. But gaming-wise, I've just been throwing myself around Far Cry 4 and Assassin's Creed Unity, quite literally pasting myself on the pavement in Assassin's Creed, because there's this little glitch on my machine, at least, that doesn't let me jump into the hay bales. Like, you'll aim for something as well. You'll be running across the top of a building, and I don't know if you guys have ever come across this. You'll be running across a building, you think, oh, that's a ledge I can jump towards. You jump, but you jump at a slightly different angle to what you intended, and you miss it, and you're off. Yeah. The number of times I've done that, and my victim, or my prey, has just found me splattered across the pavement. Not the most impressive assassin, that's for sure.
Oh dear.
Other than that, no, pretty standard.
I think that could only happen to you, Tom.
It could. I'm pretty sure. At first I was thinking, I'm sure they fixed all the bugs now. Everything's fixed. And no, it's just because I'm rubbish. So there's no excuse for it anymore.
Oh, well, welcome back, Tom.
Thank you.
Welcome back. And also with us, we have a little bit of an announcement as well. Before I introduce our next host, I'm going to say that James, our lovely co-host James, has decided to step down from being a main host on the podcast, mainly because he got his new job, as most of you know, and he's just been way too busy to be able to come on and join us and help us, and that's why it's been a little bit erratic the last few months. So, R.I.P. James, we miss you very much and love you lots. But in his place, we have the lovely Sparky. Hello, Sparky.
In on a downer. Yay.
Well, it's not a downer. It's a good thing.
The second choice is with us.
Whoa, watch your words. Yeah. It's our beloved host that's been here for a year, has gone. So we're all really sad, and the show's been gone for a while. So we just brought in this mutt off the street, and he's gonna just spout some words into a mic, and hopefully.
Sparky, put your gladiator helmet on, and all will be.
Oh god, no, I can't. It will collapse. Honestly, it collapses the shelf there. Yeah, that's balancing everything else.
That worked.
It's because I haven't yet balanced everything. But sorry, it's got to stay there, or you'll hear a massive smash.
Okay.
But yeah, hey, I'm good, thanks. Gaming news. I've been super busy as always. I say this on every show I'm on. Super busy real life stuff. So the only thing I've really dived in that's new is Evolved. I was a rock breaking the waves of DLC. I refused to buy any of the DLC. I still gave them my money for the plain game, just the classic, just Evolve, and that's it.
You paid just to play a game?
Yeah.
That's a weird concept. I don't know.
Is this a new concept?
Yeah.
It sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Like, I don't know why we
products.
want to give devs like our money to continue more titles. Seems a bit weird. I mean, it's better just to pay the artists for skins, right?
Yeah, quite.
No, it's better to pirate it. That way everyone wins.
Because no one cares.
Speak words.
No one cares about good storyline or intuitive controls or nice graphics or narration and voiceover and sounds.
Well, apparently not.
Skins.
No.
What about them skins?
And, do you know the other thing that's a little bit annoying?
What's that?
And it'll probably happen if I get involved for that little thing back there, the old Xbox. You've probably got this, Tom, because you've got an Xbox One now. In the olden days, when I used to buy a game, I'd buy the game, I'd give them some money, and I'd stick it in the old console there, and I could just play it.
This marvelous contraption called a disc.
Yes.
Do you remember those?
The
discs?
Or the cartridge. I remember the cartridge.
You gotta drop the needle on it and then tune it a little bit so it blares out the horn on top, yeah?
I put it in and it worked. And generally, I can't remember ever coming up against a bug. There must have been bugs, but I was probably too young to even know it was a bug, and I'd never really noticed. Whereas now, I buy a game, I stick it in there, I've got to wait like 20 hours for the updates to install on it. Even when it's released.
And then half the players that have bought £50 more worth of content are further ahead than you.
I feel like we're talking about a specific title here, because if it is
And
Unity, then that was an enormous patch.
And then you get halfway through the game,
Every
and
game so far.
it diverts you to its Kickstarter page to continue building the rest of the game for them.
Would you like to get to the end of this game? Please give us some more money at the Kickstarter.
Either head to our Kickstarter page and pay for the rest of the game to be continued development, or head to our modding area where you can make the game for us. We've
started really negatively, haven't we? It was really bad.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I played Evolved. I'm loving Trapper.
How is that? Yeah.
The Trapper's really good, in my opinion. It's like the most important class, because I feel the Trapper is solely responsible for getting to the monster early in the game, which is the most important thing. It decides whether or not the hunters win.
Do you slow it? You slow the monster down and stuff like that.
Yeah, you put down sort of tethers almost on the ground. If you're playing the first Trapper, that is Maggie, her name. Some of them, when you get the different skins, it's kind of almost a different take on the same class. There's another guy, God, I forget his name, but he's got a harpoon gun, and so he has sort of one tether where he sort of holds the beast and is pulling him back, and that's really cool. And then you've got to throw down the dome that puts over this sort of arena area over a small area of the map, and it sort of contains the beast in with you four, and then it's may the best man win. So it's super exciting to play the Trapper. I love doing that. It is a good game if you don't, stick around for the DLC package.
Is there a monster class that's particularly... Well, I was going to say OP, they're probably all pretty balanced by now, but is there one that people are continuously using?
Yeah, there's one that's like the Wraith, that in my opinion is way stronger than the other two. There's the Goliath, the Wraith, and something else. Sorry, I haven't played that much.
The one people aren't using, clearly.
Yeah. But no, in my opinion, I think the Goliath is the weakest, and that's the original one. That's the one that we played again when we were at EGX.
Mm-hmm.
Well, played against. Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to play Evolved, I'd say play it with your friends, because solo queue is a bit, like no one's really using voice chat, which is like a big part of the game. I think it's all about the communication between the hunters to sort of split up and like jump on the monster all at once and like corner it almost. So play it with your friends if you got any, and if you don't, sorry.
If you've got any. Aww.
You're used to it. Valentine's Day just passed.
That is the trouble though, with a lot of games nowadays. Like they are generally multiplayer, aren't they? Like Titanfall and Destiny. They generally suck if you're playing on your own. So
it's true. I'm pretty sure I said that exact same sentence on the last podcast I was on about some other game. It was like play with your friends.
Yeah. I think it does generally seem to be a trend that's going on at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
And I haven't bought Evolve yet, mainly because I'm waiting till payday, which is the 20th, and I thought I'll see where everyone else is playing it, mainly for that last reason.
Yeah.
Because if I get it on the Xbox and no one else is playing it on the Xbox, it's a bit pointless. So I think we were having a discussion before the show. We're going to get it on the PC, myself and Tom.
It's a good idea to wait and see if people are still playing it, because you never know, this might be a Titanfall 2.0.
Been stung a few times like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Titanfall.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were having a bit of a chuckle before the game started on the Evolve page, Steam page, just at the reviews, which if you have time, just go and have a look at it. They are quite humorous. Most of them seem to be not recommended, but like I did start reading one out which just chuckled me. Tom, you didn't hear this, but he starts off, like, bearing in mind he's not recommending this game, and he starts off by saying, firstly, let me start by saying I love the game. The design is great, the characters are fun and interesting, and the game modes are entertaining and challenging, albeit some could do with a bit of tweaking, but the gameplay is great. So I'm thinking, why are you not recommending it then?
Yeah.
Like, why is everyone always so negative about things? Why not recommend it because it's a good game, and then say, but this, it could be made a bit better by this. But then he goes on to write a 10,000 word dissertation on why the game is really bad, with like no exclamation marks. I'll just read the first bit where he just says, the packaging, however, is truly god-awful. Even without mentioning the horrific balls that is the DLC, everything around the game is shoddy and desperate. So it's like complete contrast to his opening statement. Just made me chuckle. But there's another one underneath it that says, not recommended, and all he said is, you must purchase a DLC to see this review.
I like that. That's my favourite one. That's really good.
So yeah, go and have a look at that. It's quite funny. But we were talking about this before the podcast, Sparky, where they could have got away with the whole DLC issue and the skins if the game had been free and then you purchased the extra stuff you wanted, a bit like League of Legends. That was a way they could have maybe made the community a little bit happier in a way, or done what other games do and release DLC in a few months' time, not on the day of release.
Yeah, when you release it on the day that the whole the original title's being released, all that says is, hey, we had all this stuff ready, but we like money, so sorry.
You just paid 50 quid for the game, but why not give us more?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was ready for the original launch, so just put it in with the rest of the game. And if that means that you want to jack the price up, then go ahead, do so. Like, you'll get less buyers because of that, but at least that way it's not trying to hide it. Like, I think by splitting the price up in lots of different sections, it's like, well, like I put in the notes there's $136 worth of DLC with the original title on top, if you want that bit. So, yeah, I think if you're going to put it all together, then have the balls to put it all together and show the community what you're actually doing. Yeah.
So how is this DLC split up?
Oh, good God, man! There's like 10 options.
Is this classes and skins and maps?
Microtransactions, pretty much, aren't they?
Then you've effectively, it would be like League of Legends charging you for the download of the initial client, which just wouldn't work. But it's got the press for it. I think the problem is, though, is supply and demand at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to part with the money because you can't or you don't want to, then you won't. And yeah, it's a tough call to make. I mean, I'm sure we'd all love for, either the free-to-play model where you can pay for just the content that you access, or, like you said, Sparky, you could just have everything thrown in day one and get the value, like the price tag to represent that, not try and hide it subtly. But
yeah.
I guess, I don't know, in the end of the day, who's benefiting
them
out of it?
Them.
Yeah.
Greatly.
There's only one answer to that question. Most definitely.
Yes, so
they are.
Yes, so I was trying to think of an answer that didn't lead to those damn developers and all that sort of thing. Yeah. But no, I guess so. If you got a product and everyone wants it, stick an extra zero on it, I guess.
I think we're in this very odd time in gaming at the moment where no one really knows which is the best model to go for. So some developers are getting a bit confused and kind of doing all of them in one go.
I think the thing is, DLC models of games, like games where something comes free and then there's lots of little microtransaction additions, I'm pretty sure they've proven to be the most profitable for game devs. They're making a truck ton of money,
especially
to be honest.
In the mobile market.
Yeah, especially on mobile and Android markets and stuff, yeah. But some games companies are trying to hold on to that honour and not go down that route and still make traditional... Good God, I put some big... You can't see that if you're watching just the audio podcast, but big parentheses on those traditional games where they just buy the original game, play it, done. Like, there's nothing else to it. You finish the story and now you are done. Or you can replay it if you want. And yeah, I have a lot of respect for those companies that are trying to hold on because I frankly hate the microtransaction industry. It is truly god awful because it just results in awful gameplay and awful development in the first place because they're doing that part for free.
It could be worse though. I mean, the thing is, when we talk about traditional gaming, we're talking about like the old PlayStation 1 Crash Bandicoot style games, but that was kind of pre-online market. So the only way you could ship a game and all its content was in one physical or two physical packs.
In a lovely looking box.
In a lovely looking box, and special shout out to Crash Bandicoot, best game ever. But the problem is arguably it could be a lot worse. Imagine if everyone went down the subscription route, which was day one, you don't buy the game, you pay 15 quid a month to play Evolve. And when you stop playing it, you can cancel the subscription. If you want to play it again, start the subscription up. That way, you're getting 15 quid off the dot. That person can play it for as much as they want in a month, but still, you've got a third of your game's price. All you need to do is keep people subscribed to make your money back. And if your friends bring you back, that's another 15 quid. So, I think the market could be a lot worse. And maybe that's the way it will go when, obviously, once we move to everything being on cloud storage and online.
Yeah, I think if we've got time to go down this tangent a little bit more, what I'd add to that is I think subscription-based games are okay as long as the developers continue to add to the game. Like if it's an ongoing process, like WoW, where they bring out expansion after expansion after expansion, and then not just that, but patches in between as well that have more and more content, and like they're constantly bug fixing and, adding new classes and whatever, and new battlegrounds and zones and blah, 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 and go on for ages. That's okay then, because their team is still working after they've released the game. It's not like a group of strangers come together, create a game, and then disband.
Yeah, the problem you have, and I think a lot of companies have had with the subscription market, of course, is if you end up having one particular company or game that is very strong in that subscription market, then other games don't really ever get a chance to tag onto it, as in the MMO market.
Yeah.
Who wants to sub to 2 MMOs? Not many people. You might do it for a few months, and then you end up deciding which one's your favourite, and ultimately you end up with one winner, and then a few little stragglers who might be able to keep subbing or otherwise go free to play, which seems to end up happening with MMOs pretty much. And you've got the same thing with consoles. Why would anyone want to subscribe to a console game when you're already playing for Xbox Live or PlayStation Network? You're not going to pay for both, are you?
No, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of strange. I like that you picked up on that. We gamers have a tendency to only really have one sub. Like, we have an overarching game that we always come back to, and that is our subscription game. When we invest all of our spare time into that, and then whenever we're bored of that, we seem to just play, either the one pay and play games,
So
the classic stuff.
this is going because I haven't said what I've played this week yet. We kind of went off on
Yeah,
a
sorry.
tangent, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We were going that way anyway. But see, I always find that when I end up going back to WoW and spending a lot of time in WoW, like me and Jason were doing a lot of PvP and everything else for Christmas, I end up not playing anything else. Like that, the £300 box back there that I bought only a couple of months ago was sitting there doing absolutely nothing because I was sitting on here playing World of Warcraft. But then you kind of feel, because you're subscribing to it, that you have to invest that time in that game because you're paying for it monthly.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay for it, you're wasting your money. Even though I'm wasting my money on that box over there as well. But anyway, regardless, I did manage to play a few other games. I managed to get to the end of the Diablo 3 campaign.
Ooh, well done.
That's the Reaper of Souls campaign, as in right at the very end.
Yeah.
I know I'm very, very far behind. I don't know if you ever managed to finish it, Tom. I know you bought it in the end.
I got 3 hours into the original Diablo, so I'm very behind.
So I'm still in front, that's nice. James, actually, our departed co-host, he jumped in with me for the final battle, and we did it together. Hurrah!
As it was designed.
As it was designed. So now I'm enjoying the adventure modes and jumping into rifts and stuff, so if anybody does want to join me in there, I'm enjoying it greatly, the old Diablo. But I got a few eBay bargains, because I was already playing Destiny on the 360, and I really wanted to get it for the Xbox One, so I rebought it a second time, and then sold my 360 version, and then I bought Titanfall on eBay for the Xbox. So that's 2 games that I bought twice because I already had it on the PC. I don't know why I'm wasting my money on buying games twice. And then I got Saints Row 4 re-elected for the Xbox, even though I have it on Steam. So I seem to be buying games that I already had at the moment.
I want to go back to that original point. You're probably the only person on the planet who bought Destiny again. And you're probably the only person in the last 6 months, at least, who bought a copy of Titanfall.
Probably.
Easily.
But it was a second-hand copy.
Yeah.
It was a second-hand copy. And I did pass on my 360 version of Destiny, so,
Fair enough.
It wasn't completely wasted.
You passed your punishment on to some other poor
I did.
individual.
Although you say that, Destiny's doing very well, which we'll come on to later.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it's doing very, very well. It made Activision a lot of money.
I'm not surprised, considering the price, the development tag.
Along with Hearthstone as
It makes
well.
me so sad that that's the definition of a good game.
We'll talk about that. We'll come on to that later. But one game that I have been enjoying is Rise, Son of Rome, which is a game that I managed to pick up quite cheaply because it's obviously quite old now. But it's quite short. It's a lot shorter than I thought. I've literally I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm probably about half an hour off finishing it because it says I've only got like 3% left to play. But I don't know if either of you have played it or seen it, but you're in the Roman army, which is never a bad thing. I've got a bit of a thing for Romans, especially the hats, like that one you bought back there, Sparky. You basically went the whole game wearing one of those.
There she is, trying to get you to dress up in it.
But the storyline's good, and they've got a very good balance of not too much cinematics and a lot of gameplay. So cinematics is enough to move the storyline forward, but not enough to like you just sitting there watching a movie, which always annoys me because you just want to play. But also the combat system is very similar. I don't know if I talked about this in the last podcast though, but it's very similar to sort of Batman in a way.
Right.
When you can block and parry and do fancy stuff,
Smash X random directions.
and build up combo moves and stuff like that. Which I like that kind of gameplay. So I've been enjoying that. It's a lot of fun. But as I said, a bit short, and I'm not really interested in doing the PvP side of stuff because there's a lot of multiplayer in that. I might give it a go. We'll see. But moving on, talking about microtransactions, as we were with Evolve. Apple has found a solution to microtransactions. I wouldn't really call it a solution, but maybe a helpful tip for people that don't like them. They're basically putting in a new category. So when you search for games, on the Apple Store, they've now put in a pay once and play category.
This is the first thing that Apple have done that I like. I've always been an Android against the Apple sheep and hated everything they've ever said and done. But I got to admit, I really want Steam to do this.
It's very consumer friendly, isn't it?
Oh, it's so good. They've taken this little community of people that have just got a rabid hatred of DLC and just gone, here's a little bite.
There you go, yeah.
Just follow the little trail of bites into our lovely Apple Store.
Yeah. You want to pay for a game once and just play it? Here you go.
Yes.
There it is.
Thank you.
A shop full of them. So yeah, very positive move there by Apple, and I'm pretty sure that other stores will follow. I can't say they wouldn't, because I'm not sure if this includes younger people. If there are younger people listening, please let us know. You might not know any different, but definitely with the older generations, us older generations that we hate it.
We do. We really do.
We hate it. So yeah, good. What do you reckon about that, Tom?
I don't think there's anything you could argue against it. Even me playing devil's advocate, there's nothing wrong with this at all. If anything, places like Steam and other distributors need to just pick it up. And the thing is, once these things are set up on things like Steam, and now it's set up with Apple, people will start to get really behind, I think, the idea of just these sort of genres of pay once and play, and that will show developers that if they want to have a game that's going to have people actively looking for it, they're going to have to get into that genre, and so that will help push for more games that pay once and you play them. And I think that's the only way to do it, is you have to create a channel where you can say, look, everyone wants a pay once play model, and developers will have to bend, because like we said earlier, they'll go where the money is, and if you can show the money's in that genre, they'll go to that genre. I think it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm surprised it's taken this long, to be honest.
And we might maybe see where the general consensus is. If people just go to that tab and just download those games, then that might move the market in the opposite direction again.
You know who's really going to tab onto these if they're sort of aware of the industry? Are parents that have kids on their phones.
Yes.
How many parents out there have lost hundreds of pounds or dollars from kids going, buy more coins, on these little goddamn games that we all hate so much?
If I do the hoovering, will you be able to buy me some more gems for my game, please?
Buy more Farmville coins.
Yeah.
I think Apple was happy to write off the first couple of $80,000 bills, but it's not really that keen anymore.
No.
It's pretty...
Now it's they're your children.
Building.
You need to do your parental controls on the phones and sort it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Just close every other store apart from pay once and play, and then your kid's pretty safe.
It's nothing new. I'm pretty sure I racked up my mum and dad's phone bill when I was younger, because back in those days, the phone bill was connected to your internet bill, and you had to pay the amount of time you were on the internet. Your phone bill went up, and I'm pretty sure I got told off by my mum and dad having a £150 phone bill once, because I'd been on AOL online doing silly things for way too long. Yeah, so it's nothing new, it's just evolved slightly.
I think though, because obviously, even if you have a kid where they haven't got access to the subscription-based games and things like that, if you've got a kid that doesn't understand how iTunes stores work, don't let it near your iPad. Don't let it on your tablet. Just
don't give them your password.
Turn off the Wi-Fi and just leave it. Easiest way.
Yeah, and they're much cleverer than they let on as well.
Oh yeah.
They can click the buy button. See if there's anyone else. Yeah.
They're evolving.
Yep. Yeah. Nice link there, both of you.
Subtle.
So we've also had some new information on Rise of the Tomb Raider. A few more details about that, because they've been a bit cagey about it, haven't they, so far? Haven't given us a lot, a little bit of a sneaky trailer, but we now know that Lara Croft is heading to Siberia, of all places, quite cold out there, on a hunt for the secrets of immortality. Interesting. According to Game Informer, Lara Croft is being sent to the frozen wilds of Siberia to hunt for the lost secrets of immortality. Lara will have to hunt and craft new survival gear in order to take on larger puzzle tombs and a deadly new enemy, a secret society that has been lying in the shadows since the last game, it adds. So, that's interesting. She gets to craft stuff now. Neglect. You don't look so keen.
Have they been playing Far Cry?
Quite probably, and Skyrim, I'd imagine. I like that idea. Let's put it in our game.
Yeah.
It's nothing new, but it is new, I suppose, to Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I guess they're just trying to, make it a little bit
That's
more
the important
three-dimensional and change it a bit.
Yeah, change it up a bit. Who else thinks that the secret of immortality is Russian vodka?
Well, yeah.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone else seen that episode of South Park where Cartman tries to freeze himself and goes to the future to get a Nintendo Wii?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can think of when I'm reading this. I just think she's going to just fall down a ditch and freeze, and she'll wake up in, 4012.
That's a great game idea.
That
could be the next Tomb Raider.
If Far Cry did it with cybernetic T-Rexes, I'm sure Saints Row did something. Just Lara Croft in the future. That's it.
We need to get that idea to the producers now.
Mm.
So yeah, that's pretty much all they've told us about. Oh, there will be a new AI as well, and they've said pretty much with the crafting that you'll be scavenging for metals, minerals, plants, animal skins to build weapons, traps, and healing items. So it's just gonna,
Now it's Minecraft. It's Minecraft and Far Cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they want this to succeed in the community's eyes, then they need to sort of dial back the fantasy a bit. I know that wasn't appreciated so much in the way it was portrayed in the last one. And more puzzles, please. Can we keep this Tomb Raider?
That is meant to be the idea of Tomb Raider, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can see where they're coming from. You have to craft these things to go on to the more harder puzzles in the tombs.
All right. Okay.
But that might be... It depends how they do it, I suppose, because it can be quite annoying sometimes when you want to move on to the next one and you can't because you need to upgrade your gear. So you need to go and collect a load of herbs or kill a load of sheep and stuff.
Oh yeah, when you put it that way,
it could get a bit grindy, couldn't it? It could be dangerous.
You can't move on to the next bit of the tomb or the next piece of the puzzle because you're missing one tin, or that would be kind of. I'm not a fan of that. You
have to go back and get in the last tomb or in some random place in Siberia.
Well, download this DLC. One tin.
the price of $14.99, you can get into the next dungeon.
Oh god.
Oh, well, we'll see. Time will tell. They're just giving a little bit more of a snippet of information, so we'll see what else comes out. But Rise of Tomb Raider will be launching exclusively on the Xbox One and Xbox 360 sometime in 2015, summer-ish. It says holiday season. What does that mean? Is that the summer holidays, the Easter holidays, or the Christmas holidays?
Go on.
Does that mean exclusive during that period?
Yes.
They haven't said yet.
I think that's kind of in subtext, isn't it?
I think though didn't they talk about it a couple of months ago, because the holiday season here is going to be Christmas. So I think what they said is that it's exclusive at first to Xbox and then it's coming out to the PS4. Because I don't think it's fully exclusive.
Well, the next bit said, Microsoft explained last August, which is probably what you're talking about, that the company's move to tie up Xbox exclusively to Rise of Tomb Raider was motivated by a desire to compete with Sony in the action-adventure genre. Tomb Raider, it was suggested, could be Xbox's answer to Uncharted. So maybe not. Maybe not.
I will find out an answer.
Time will tell. While you're doing that, we will move on and discuss Destiny. I said we will come to it. You see, Tom? I'll give you your chance. Destiny Dev hires Guild Wars 2 writer to work as lore master in those things that Sparky likes so much. Most people know, as we have discussed here on the podcast, that Destiny, although I believe is a great game to play, if you like grinding through content, failed terribly at having any kind of storyline. I'm still a bit confused as to what the story was. I know I went through one at some point. And I know there's, a couple of factions. I can't really remember what I was doing, other than the fact that there was this big earth ball that was protecting us, called the Traveller, and nearly everything else was destroyed.
Kim, I'm pretty sure you'll find the deep storyline was spaceship, planet, spaceship, planet, spaceship, different planet, spaceship.
Yeah, but there's only Russia on Earth, isn't there? Old Russia. One
Oh,
Side of the
did
Moon.
you bump into Lara Croft?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Maybe that could be a DLC for them. But I digress. Listen.
Yes, yeah.
I personally like Destiny. That's why I upgraded to the Xbox One version, and I wish other people would play it with me, because I'm sure it would be much more fun if I was playing it with other people, other than random people. I have made several friends on Xbox Live that I have never met before through Destiny. Pretty much, I think, because they've been doing the same thing that I've been doing. Oh my god, there's somebody else playing, please be my friend, and then we can go and do stuff together.
Yeah.
Because none of our actual friends are playing it. But having said that, it has got a huge player base, Tom. At last count, 16 million people are playing Destiny.
Wow.
And
16
counting.
million?
16 million. Although Activision wouldn't confirm how many of them are active players, but they have got...
2 of them. There's no way they've got 16 million
Well, I think
players.
some of that comes from who downloaded the DLC, so which has only just come out. So
Yeah, if you add up everyone who bought the game, everyone who ever used it, all the DLC purchases, and anyone who they thought may buy it in the next 10 years, then yes, it might come near to 16 million.
Well, alright, you sceptical person, you. But they have apparently made a lot of money from Destiny. It was one of their biggest grossing games last year. It has apparently got a lot of players, and they obviously want to hold on to these players, and they've decided to do something about the lack of story issue. So if we go on to this bit, John Ryan, who you may know, was working for leaves ArenaNet. I digress. And he has moved over. He was on Guild Wars 2 before, working on ArenaNet. He is a person that has been, was it headhunted? Is that the word?
Yeah,
Headhunted for Bungie to correct this issue. So you never know. We might actually, have some kind of story, maybe, in some DLC.
So is this a Mass Effect jobby?
I don't know. Maybe.
They go, oh god, guys, we messed up. Add more story.
Let's
Fix
try
the
and
story.
fix it. But, the question is he going to be working on Destiny 2, which is widely rumoured as being happening, or is he going to fix the original Destiny? What would you do if you were Bungie?
Oh man, that's a tough call, because if you go ahead into making a second, a second copy of the same game, might be harsh to say, but if the community still has a sour taste in their mouth from having little to no story in the first one, they don't have much of an incentive to buy the next one. So
you'd fix the original.
If it was me, I wouldn't just fix the original, I'd add more onto the original that kind of also fixes it.
So DLC.
there's no.
Here's a DLC lore patch.
No, patch, yes, patch.
What do you reckon,
An
Tom?
expensive patch.
I'm thinking about Bungie's history, and the only thing I can think of is that it would be cool if they did a little patch, but if you think back to the Halo franchise, when they thought about a DLC pack, this was after Halo 3, they had a DLC pack in mind, and they decided, instead of making it a DLC pack, we're going to explode this out and we're going to turn it into a standalone game, full price. No, it wasn't full price, it was slightly discounted, and that became Halo ODST. So my thought is that based on past performance, and I realise that's probably a really bad thing to base it on, considering it was the Halo franchise, I think they'll probably just want to have a different product that just looks better, so that, when people are typing into Google Destiny, they want people typing Destiny 2 and not getting all that blurb about how horrible it was on release. They'll just want something a fresh start. And I think people will still buy it, because all you're doing is you're moving the story from the current game to a new game. So, but yeah, no, they definitely need something.
I mean, what's keeping people playing Destiny at the moment is pretty much people wanting to go and get more loot. It's the whole loot thing. It's why people play Diablo, although you've got the lore side that's really works, obviously, for Diablo, and the same reason that people play WoW. You go on there, you want to get better gear, you want to go into, the next raid with other people, with your friends, you want to get stronger, and that's basically what's keeping people in. But that's not going to keep people necessarily long term. You need that story behind it to get people hooked to keep playing it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they could do either or on this one. Maybe Destiny is too far down the line to introduce more lore for it, so it might make more sense just to focus on the next Destiny.
Yeah, that's why I was hesitating, because it's been a while now. It's kind of strange to invest, because it's a costly investment to go back and add more.
I guess they're not going to change the story that they've already got. I can't see them going back and changing anything. They can only add to it.
Yeah.
Can't they?
But they've got to add to it in such a way that it makes the original story worthwhile.
Yeah.
But Bungie has done that. I mean, if you look again at the Halo franchise, Halo 2's story was slated for the split between Master Chief and the Arbiter, but now look at it, it's worthy of remastering, and no one complains. So I agree, Sparky, if they can get it right, no one will remember 5 years from now, really, that it was tetchy at best. Yeah. So if they can get it right,
the gaming community is pretty prone to blocking out bad memories.
Yeah, because it'll be thinking about all the other games as well, so it's not going to remember or probably even care what Destiny 1 was like.
And as a product, it has a lot of strong points. So we've discussed before that, I'm not particularly keen on the whole loading screen going down and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I really enjoy playing it. As an FPS, I enjoy it when I'm playing it. I like going in and you know... So... If you've got the foundation there of a good game, there's no reason why you can't put the extra effort in to make it an almost perfect game.
Wow.
Maybe.
Well said. Well said. You say that, though, when they start charging you £20 to keep your friends you've made on Destiny, you've made a new friend, spend £5 and you can keep them for more than 2 hours, you know.
Yeah, thanks.
You wait for that, then we'll have this conversation.
Yeah.
Downloadable content, crosshairs for your guns.
Oh,
you're shooting from the hip unless you download this.
No.
Or have a patch update where they, remember the old Halo Skull, which didn't show your gun; it just had a blank interface. What if the game gets released like that and you have to pay for different parts of your interface?
It's so cynical now with these game developers. They've got like 73 positions still open, so if any of you are some kind of art designer or programmer, go and have a look, and you might get hired for whatever they're doing.
We're just the sales team. We're just thinking how much money we can make out of this.
73 positions, that's quite a lot, isn't it? You got a good chance of getting one of them, I suppose.
It's more than I can do.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Anyway, and Elder Scrolls. We discussed Elder Scrolls at the beginning. They've got a new Crown store, so Elder Scrolls, who are obviously going free to play, as we discussed previously, have now got real money transactions. So they've got their little microtransactions coming in to try and keep the game going. I'm trying to just get this little thing up. One of the things also that's happening, before we go on to that, which I find slightly annoying, as I spoke to Sparky beforehand, is they are bringing out something extra for subscribers. My voice is going, I apologise. Here we go. And for subscribers that have been with them from the beginning. So I think it says if you have been a subscriber at the time of the transition to Tamriel Unlimited with at least 300 days of subscription time, not necessarily consecutively, prior to March 16th, you'll get a striped censure mount, which is basically a tiger with a really cool hat. Right? Now, as I said to Sparky at the beginning of the podcast, before we were recording, what's made me slightly irritated about this is that I obviously, as regular listeners will know, spent about 70 odd quid on the deluxe edition or whatever it was, legendary edition of Elder Scrolls Online, and subbed for a month or two. I think I got a month free with my legendary, and then I subbed for the next month. And then realised that the game wasn't really that fun, so I unsubbed. What would be quite nice would be as if they said, do you know what, all you people that spent over 60 quid on the deluxe edition, the legendary edition, that then decided the game was rubbish and didn't subscribe, we're going to give you something nice too, to try and get you back into the game, to apologise for you spending all that money and then not liking the game. You see my point? Or am I just stupid for spending that money in the first place?
You're pretty stupid for spending that much money in the first place.
I got a really nice white mount, which I
used to be like that. I used to do that so much, but now I'm holding up my pitchfork in defiance. I'm not purchasing anything other than original games right now, because of the system. From the company's perspective, the reason they shouldn't give you something is because you didn't support their game by remaining subbed.
Particularly good.
Yes, and that is their fault. That is their fault. Yeah.
But you did walk away from it.
Yeah.
I did.
You didn't have faith, Kim. You didn't have faith in Bethesda.
If anyone's still playing it and would like to argue that it's sorted itself out, then please let me know.
I think something else as well is that this isn't like what Blizzard did for the WoW subscribers, where they went, "You've been with us for 10 years continuously. Here's something as a thank you." What Elder Scrolls Online is doing is compensation for damages caused.
Oh my god, you poor people! Here's a mount.
And I can assure you, there is probably something in the legal team being bounced around. It's effectively going to be something where if you do accept it, you can't sue them. There's games doing that at the moment because they're unfinished, and Unity did that. The new terms of acceptance, which when you accepted the patch, you removed all legal options to sue them for the unfinished game. This is probably something very similar. They're basically buying you off. If you keep subscribed, then you can't get your money back. So it's really not a good thing. Effectively, that is a mark of shame, that amount that you kept giving money to this thing. Not to say it's an awful game, but it's not. Well,
it's gone to free to play after less than a year.
Yeah.
I liked that word you used of compensation. It's like Bethesda's going, "Have you been injured at work? Or what a crappy game that wasn't your fault."
You'll see the ads on Kickstarter soon.
With a monochrome background and slow frame rate of people moving around in warehouses. Yeah, I'm loving it.
This is something else. We had quite a long discussion, as those of you we might have noticed by now, me and Sparky, before the podcast. And one of the other things that we did discuss was I was hoping that I wasn't going to get an email from them saying, "Thank you for subscribing for 300 days. Here's your amount." And I'd be like, "Damn, did I forget to unsubscribe?" Because I'm sure there is someone out there who has got the little model from Blizzard for subscribing over the last 10 years, who hasn't played for 9 years but just forgot to unsub, and they're like, "What? I've been subbing for 9 years for this game I've never played."
The funny thing as well is there's a bunch of people out there that have never heard of WoW but received one because Blizzard sent that model to the address 10 years ago that person lived at. So there's probably some 80-year-old woman that's just received this war chief on a wolf saying, "Thank you for subscribing to our MMORPG." And she's like, "Is that a MMO? What is that?"
She's probably petrified. She's probably petrified. Someone's put that through their door.
Someone's threatening me.
What, it's like something out The Godfather, and she wakes up with it on her pillow.
But anyway, their crown store that they're bringing out is basically going to sell mounts and potions and stuff.
Sounds like a real arrow in the knee.
With money. So nothing new there really.
On a slight and very short tangent, just a very quick round table comment: is anything going to be able to start an MMO and keep its subscription model going? Because WoW is doing very well. It's up to 10 million subscribers, so it's on the rebound. Why is it? Maybe it goes back to our earlier comment about single subscription games for each person.
I think that's what it is.
Is that what it is? Just everyone's playing WoW?
I can't think of any other reason. I think you've got the MMO market. You've got three sorts of people actually. You've got the people that don't ever buy them because they don't want to sub to anything. You get the people that are like us that buy a game, sub it, and stay with it. Then you got the MMO hoppers, haven't you? They kind of buy it, play it for a few months, and then stop, and then go to another one. So you've got those three basically, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think half the problem is you need to get the people like us to be able to keep it going long term. You want the people that are going to subscribe for a long period of time and stay with you and keep giving you money.
Yeah. The only reason it's alive as long as it has been is because of the time that players have invested.
Yeah.
personally, when I look at WoW, I don't quit because I said, well, oh my god, I've poured like 7 years of my life into this game. How can I quit? It's worth so much to me now. Like, and that's nothing to do with how good the game is.
Your time's very valuable, isn't it?
Yeah,
Why would you
very
start
valuable.
again when you've collected all those mounts, Sparky?
Exactly. No, 250 almost mounts. One day.
I think WildStar's still a subscriber. You can still sub to.
That had a very different sub model though, didn't it? Does it still
Yeah, you
in-game?
You can still do the in-game thing with the creds. The
If there's
cred
anyone
system.
else to buy it off.
Yeah, I think I've still got a cred sitting there,
Really?
not doing anything at the moment. If anyone wants it.
Don't
this like-
PM Kim because she's not going to start up her sub to trade it to you.
Saying that, Wales is starting to do that as well. It's planning, or at least it's thinking about
Yes.
doing in-game currency. But I said it would be a very quick comment, but it just popped into my head. Is this something that developers should start getting right? Because it just seems so many people are trying to get into the MMO market and failing abysmally. And it is true, they are failing abysmally because they're going in with this idea they're going to be the next WoW and they're coming nowhere near and they're walking out as free to play. Why are companies focusing so much on MMOs when Blizzard has got it right and is too busy moving into the arena games and the TCG online platforms? I just think, is it the case developers should just focus somewhere else and get the initiative there? Because I just think Elder Scrolls Online would have been better if it had just made an arena game. Or something like that. Or, I don't know, something else. Just, I think too many people, this is just time and time again, people just, MMOs just failing. And it's just not, I don't know why they're bothering anymore.
If anything should have worked as an MMO, it should have been Elder Scrolls Online.
I
Shouldn't
think,
it? Really?
yeah, it should have been, but it's poor management. I think it's all about timing with MMOs. Like we said, people only stick with one. So what you have to do, in my opinion, and this is costly as hell, so you better have something else backing it up, but I think you should be slowly but surely developing an MMO, and you wait until your competition dies. Wait until WoW or Blizzard does something catastrophic that ruins the whole game and everyone quits. And then you've got a bunch of hungry MMO players that have nothing to play. And then you go, boom, release, amazing MMO out of nowhere.
Yeah, but you
And
know
people will
who's
go,
gonna be doing that, don't
holy
you?
crap! What?
You know who's going to be doing that, though, don't you?
Who?
Blizzard.
Yeah. Well, no, they're working on TF2 now.
When Blizzard dies... Well, sorry, not when Blizzard dies. When WoW dies, Blizzard will bring out the next MMO.
Maybe.
That's my forecast.
I reckon they haven't got anything prepared.
Yeah, you never know. Who saw Overwatch coming?
No, but that's not an MMO.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But I think there's a point there that Blizzard, the massive company that it is doing a very good job of making sure that if its players do step away from WoW, they have a lot of choice. Whereas there are a lot of developers out there who are still trying to bottleneck into the MMO genre, and they're not getting anything out of it. And I think, you know, if 5 years from now any of these developers listened back to this particular episode, I just hope to God that you tried something else, because you know, no one's going to be as interested in MMOs 10 years down the line as they will be in whatever the next genre is, because MMOs probably the last 10 years, the next thing's going to be completely different, and Bethesda certainly aren't going to be there, I don't think.
It's true, though. When you open up Battle.net, quite often I open up Battle.net thinking, well, I'm going to go and play WoW. And then when I open it up, I look at the side tabs and I'm thinking, oh, I could actually jump
that's
into
nice.
Diablo. Or, yeah, Hearthstone. Heroes of the Storm. And I get kind of put, I think, oh, no, I will play WoW. But there's always that moment where I think, maybe I'll do that. And quite often I do. I'll go and play Hearthstone instead. And that is something quite powerful, I think, that they do have.
Yeah. You know, Tom, you talked about whatever the next market is. I'm just going to softly, essentially whisper into the devs' ears. VR. That's the next one.
Me and Tom don't have
Yeah.
such a love relationship with VR as you do, though, Sparky.
Really?
No.
Not yet, but that's the thing. It's emerging soon. It's going to be so good.
We were hit quite hard with the travel sickness.
Oh, can you not stand the travel sickness?
Well,
Oh, see, it doesn't affect me. I'm
it might have
fine.
been the game that we played.
If in
What
the
was
first 2 minutes the guys running the Oculus had come up to me and go, for £5, I'll let you have the DLC bucket, I probably paid a £5. They would have got a quick fiver out of me. So it didn't go well. But the game they showed at EGX Race was just it was Vertigo in 2D, let alone 3D and beyond. It was the weirdest game. I think it was designed to give you a headache. But no, maybe I think that's definitely the thing. VR and moving forward.
Yeah, I love it.
It is really probably the way to go, but yeah, it just every time I think about it, it makes me feel queasy.
Oh.
But they are. Moving on. The next thing we have is quite exciting, actually. It's a Kickstarter project, and where's he gone? What happened?
Where?
Kickstarters are a big no. Never.
What?
No, I'm out. You say Kickstarter, I'm out. No.
Oh, right,
Sorry.
that was you bailing.
Oh, is it because you don't like Kickstarter? Why don't you like Kickstarters? Sometimes they're very good.
Do you have
board
to list
games.
every game that's ever come out on Kickstarter?
No, but sometimes I think it's quite nice to put the power of the people in the hands of the developer. Is that the way around? They can only make a game if people like it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I agree. For games like this one we're going to talk about, I think it's quite a good idea, personally. So, anyway, on Jake's, that was really
Kickstarter, the verdict.
Yeah. Underworld, Ultimate Underworld.
Yeah.
Anyone play it?
Mm-mm.
You know about it?
Well, I kind of missed the boat on this because I was born 2 years after its release.
1992.
So-
I was 12. That makes me feel really old.
Yeah.
Back in 1992, and I will read from the Kickstarter page, Ultimate Underworld changed the rules of what fantasy RPG could be. It introduced the concept of 3D immersion, a player-authored experience, and a richer dynamic world to explore. Its influence led to a whole generation of games such as Thief, Bioshock, Skyrim, Dragon Age, etc. Quite a big statement, I think, for them to make. But basically, the developer went out of business a while ago, and the original person, I believe, who started it all, has decided to set up another company and remake it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go over to the right screen, and what I will do is I will play a little bit of their little trailer, because they've gone to the time and effort to do it. It is Underworld Ascendant, is what it's called, by Other Side Entertainment, and they're looking for $600,000, which is quite a big goal, but they've already got $443,000 with 18 days to go, so I reckon they might actually get it. So let's just play a little bit of this trailer.
Hi, I'm Paul Narath. I founded Looking Glass, which was an indie studio. The first game that we developed was Ultimate Underworld, a groundbreaking fantasy role-playing game that came out in 1992.
And while most of the games in role-playing, like Ultimas, were made in top-down tile view graphics, it was Paul Narath and his team that sat down and said, we can make a virtual world where the computer is not only the game master, but to where it is visualized in beautiful three-dimensional graphics. We can create a user interface that is more natural with a mouse than it was with a lot of those other games were with purely keyboard, and Underworld was born.
At Looking Glass, we went on to explore the genre in some different ways. System Shock, which was a science fiction take using many of the same approaches. Later Thief, which was using stealth, a take on that same sort of approach. We also influenced other game designers who were creating games like Deus Ex, Bioshock, Skyrim. So we really created this whole new genre of immersive gameplay combined with this emergent improvisational element that empowered the player to, create their own story with this interactive media.
Underworld's approach to game systems and simulation is central to our philosophy of keeping things in the player's hands giving up authorship for ourselves and giving it to you. The other reason I'm excited about working with Otherside on this new Underworld is for the opportunity to take this kind of game forward into the future. As in the original Underworlds, you're going to be the avatar, a human from this world, magically transported to the fantasy realm of Underworld. And all the game's going to take place underground. We want that real pure sense of immersion in this deep and dark labyrinth space. Also from the original Underworlds, we're going to take forward the concept of factions. The Dark Elves, the Dwarves, and the Shamblers. And these three factions, they all vie for control of the Underworld, and there's tension between them. And by the time the player comes in, they're almost at outright war. It can resolve in different ways depending on the player choice. And so there's a whole dynamic between the factions that the players can use and really create a living, breathing environment and ecology that respond to what the player does. We're going to give you a character creation system that you can improvise with as much as with any of our other systems in the game. And you can combine elements to craft your own approach to building your persona in the game that reflects the way that you want to solve problems. Yes, we want to extend the kinds of things that we do with physics simulation and AI and other simulated systems. We're also looking at other opportunities that were cut short when Looking Glass closed its doors. So why bring Underworld back now? Well, it so happens that Underworld and Underworld 2, the publisher put them in the deepest vault, and they were gone for a generation. But only now we're able to find a way to bring it back out as an indie studio, as Otherside. Crowdfunding gives us the opportunity to bring this kind of game back. We can take creative risks that the big publishers wouldn't be comfortable doing. Move the state of the craft forward. We're not afraid to experiment. We did it Looking Glass, we're going to do it again at Otherside. If you're as excited as we are about some of these ideas, we're going to need your help to realize them. Each week going forward during the Kickstarter, we're going to reveal some new aspect, where we're innovating, where we're pushing forward. And we'd like to invite you to join us on this journey to try to reinvent, yet again, the fantasy role-playing genre. With your help, we'll make this happen. We don't know exactly how it's going to come out, but it's going to be a blast.
There we have it. A nice little trailer. You see, I don't know if you heard that, Sparky.
No.
But he said that. Oh, let's turn that off. He said that because they're crowdfunding, they're able to take risks that a normal publisher wouldn't allow them to do.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of risks when it comes to games. The problem I have with it, like if you scroll down through their Kickstarter page, there's a lot of crazy rewards for the people that donate insane amounts of money. And I can't help but wonder, if a company has to come to Kickstarter to fund their game, how on earth can they deliver on all of this? I mean...
What's that? What do you mean? So if we go right down the bottom, okay.
So right down the bottom.
£10,000. They've got 5 backers.
5 backers for £10,000. That's insane.
Incredible. Royal Patron. Join us for the over-the-top Underworld Ascendant launch party. Spend a day with the team, talk games, play a board game, share your thoughts for what Otherside does. What's wrong with that?
Well, and all of the stuff above it.
Okay. With your design input, one of our game designers will handcraft a lordly abode in the Underworld named in your honour.
Yeah, I'm sure the digital stuff can be easily done, but it's like custom signed art, and they've got a carved wooden patron scepter that they give to you, and a 7-inch figurine and a 4-inch figurine, and signed art books and music discs and a dancing jade dagger, and
oh, they've done their accountancy.
Oh my good God!
So negative.
I don't see how it's possible. There's just been so many games, like even the Yogscast Kickstarter failed.
Yeah, well...
With such a huge crowd that they had.
But they've got a basis, haven't they? They've got the original developer of the game, for a start. Taking the idea forward. He's already done it once.
Yeah,
it's not like it's a completely new concept. They're just bringing back an old game that people loved.
They had a successful game, Maths 23 years ago.
God, Don't make me sound that old.
23 years ago or something like that, I don't know, maths, around there, all of that fan base, they're long gone.
I'm still here. Long gone?
Long gone.
What?
People...
How old do you think? How old do you think people are when they stop playing games?
How many gamers, out of all gamers ever...
I'm sorry, I'd have to get Scott Johnson on this as well.
How many are older than 33?
Quite a few of us.
Yeah,
But there are quite a few of us.
Let's be honest, the majority is 12-year-old American kids.
I'm 34. You know, I'm sure if we get Coltrane, Scott Johnson, Pat Craig, like I said, I would name quite a few.
Those are the broadcasters that have a career in it because they're adults.
Yeah, but they're
The
not
actual
the only
gamers,
ones.
the actual people that just play and put the games away.
Okay, everyone out there who is over the age of, what did you say, 33?
33,
And
yeah.
still playing games. Can you please comment on this video?
Go to my Twitter, @EpicNowSparky.
and tell Sparky what a... I can't think of a word. I can't think of a word.
I was going to say, I think I know where Sparky's coming from. However, we're at a danger of saying that all gamers are exactly the same demographic as PewDiePie's audience, and that's dangerous territory.
Yes.
Honestly, I mean, if you look at like the gamers that support Yogscast and PewDiePie, yes, they are mostly 12-year-olds.
Yep.
But the thing is with this, it's the original developer of the Ultima franchise. Now, a lot of people out there, like me, probably, well, I now know what the Ultima franchise was because I watched some reviews from a guy on YouTube called Spoonie or Noah Antwiler, and the Ultima franchise was huge, absolutely huge when it started, and then it kind of went off on a tangent and didn't do as well, kind of destroyed the franchise. This is a massive, massive project for people who, if they are fans of the original, are going to be older. So I don't know who else would be backing, unless it's the
Who
developers
has
themselves.
money though? Let's have a look at this again. I was going to point out the fact that they have already made £400,000, and most of the people of my age,
I really offended you with that.
of my age, you know, most of us are hard-working people who can afford to put money into this kind of thing. Whereas the people who do like Yogscast, I'm not dissing Yogscast because I like them too, just before we get this right, but you know, their plan never quite worked out, and I know that they do make a lot of money from their fans going and seeing them, but generally their fan base don't have any money because they have to ask their parents to pay for it, and if they ask their parents to put some money into a game that hasn't been developed yet, they're going to say no, probably.
Yeah.
Whereas I can make the decision myself if I want to back this, to back it.
Yeah. But, and doesn't it worry you that this is from a developer that was good in his prime 20 years ago? I mean, the engines and the processes you have to go
Now
through
when Mike
are
Morhaime,
far cool from what they used to be.
Would you have this conversation with Mike Morhaime right now? Would you?
Well,
Just
he's
saying.
stuck with the same thing for all that time.
So did he.
The original Ultima games, though, they were, you know, text-based movers. They are completely different to what people today would expect.
They were the original 3D RPG games, and that's half the problem now, is that they are obviously competing with other games, as they've already quoted, that they kind of inspired, which are already doing very well now with a new audience. So I completely agree. Yes, it's going to be a tough job. However, I can't see that they're not necessarily going to make this. They only need another 150,000 to reach their goal in 18 days.
Yeah, that's not the bit that's worrying me. It's the delivery. That's the scary bit.
It's where they are saying at the end, you know, they've promised 5 people that they're going to get their likeness as an NPC, a special treat. All the other tiers, they've promised. I mean, how many people are getting the 1,500 one? They've promised that they potentially are promising 100 people that they are going to get a 7-inch figurine of their character designed by them, their name carved in an in-game gold statue, a signed personalised prose on parchment, and everything before it, a signed art book. So there's 100 of those that have to be made. There's another, and I agree, this is a huge
Like, if you think about it,
essentially.
Blizz, a multi-million-dollar corporation, have only just started making figurines for players. And they've been at it a long time and made a lot of money.
Okay, I'm just having a look at the team though, right? The Other Side Entertainment team members have worked on 25 award-winning games. This includes such standout games as Ultima Underworld, System Shock, Thief, Duex, GEX, Neverwinter Nights, Dishonored, Medal of Honor, Uncharted, Last of Us, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and BioShock Infinite, to name some. So it's not like they're just some spotty people that have come out of college working on this. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
No.
So you would have thought that they'd, put some kind of research into this. Hang on, I need to let my dog in because he's now barking at the door. He's whining at the door. Carry on, Sparky.
Yeah, I think, well, Kim's not going to be here for a while now.
It's awful, absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Downhill.
Yeah, so I'm glad we summed that up. Let's move on.
I think that would be cool, though, if we keep this going a little bit longer. We'll see.
Yeah.
See, now I don't know what you said.
No, I was just saying to Sparky that putting everything aside, this is the potential to be a huge success because look at how many backers it's got, how much money it's made.
It's going to go one way or the other, isn't it? Let's face it. It's
yeah.
either going to crash horribly or it's going to do really, really well.
I think I just have a horrible distaste for Kickstarter. That's my influence. I just loathe it. I really do.
There have been some very positive Kickstarters, though, that have done very well.
Yeah, and they did well because they didn't promise the world.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Kickstarter, and I'm not going to get onto a rant on Kickstarter. I'm just going to say where I stand very quickly, and that's it from me. Kickstarter is not a simple backing developers sort of thing. It is effectively a gambling website where you take your money and you gamble on things that you would like to see made in a particular way, and you have no control after you give your money whether it's made or whether it's made in the way you want it, or even if you get the very things you signed up for in terms of rewards. There's no guarantee that these people are going to get their $10,000 rewards because the company might say, well, actually, we can't commit to that. So that's the thing, is Kickstarter is something where if you have a certain element of doubt, you're not going to like it because you have to put your faith and quite literally all your money into this promise. And I think that what me and Sparky are agreeing on is that it's a huge promise to make and there's a lot of money riding on it for a lot of people. But I would say if they pull it off and they stick to their guns, it's going to be absolutely fantastic because it's something that I know Ultima fans have wanted for a long, long, long time. And that's such a cliche thing to say. Some people will not realise how much Ultima fans would love to see this game be made. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Including me. And I do have to say that the Shambler looks awesome. Do you not agree? The Shambler. The little tree dude.
Trying to find him. Oh! Fungus Man.
Yeah.
Group 2.0.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. 3 main factions, Dark Elf, Dwarf and Shambler. Which, is quite clearly what I'm going to be. So if you're an Ultima fan or that interests you, go to their Kickstarter page and back them. Or if you hate Kickstarter like Sparky, then ignore that part of the segment and that part of the show altogether. And we'll move on. How does that sound, Sparky? You happy with
That sounds great.
You happy?
It's us youngins.
Can we just delete Kickstarter?
First time on the show as a regular co-host, and he's already upset me.
Yeah.
Isn't that a standard theme?
That's pretty much what I do best.
It's like an initiation, right? Really.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
In dangerous territory, friend.
Yeah. I'm just going to play the outro music, and then we'll finish.
All right.
So that is it for Epic Geeks episode 21. I will just say there are a couple of games coming up as well, which I forgot to put at the end of the show. On the 19th of February, you've got The Order 1886 coming out on the PlayStation 4. And 27th of February here in the UK and Europe, we've got Dying Light coming out, which is a game that we've spoken about on previous shows, coming out on the PC and Xbox One and the PS4. 2004. So you can find out about other Epic Geeks games on the Epic Geeks games, Epic Geeks shows on the Epic Geeks network by going to epicgeeks.co.uk. We have Geeks of Azeroth, of course, which Tom is involved with. Anything important coming up this week in Geeks of Azeroth?
No, unless you're a big fan of 50 Shades of Grey and random distractions. That pretty much sums up episode 28. But no, otherwise it's business as usual. Still waiting for 6.1 to drop.
Awesome. And where can we find Geeks of Azeroth?
You can find it at Geeks of Azeroth on Twitter, or type it in Google or on the Epic Geeks website, and you will find us pretty easily, I hope.
Awesome. And Sparky, have you got any interesting projects coming up?
Well, I liked your stumble there, and it got me thinking, should we make an Epic Geeks game?
No,
I'll put it on Kickstarter, and Lamborghini Ferry back
It was a stumble, because actually we're going to make one. No, we're not at all.
Yeah. No, it would be terrible.
That would be really bad.
Yeah.
It would just be you telling me I'm old and me telling you you're a young whippersnapper. This would basically be it.
But no
It
shout
could be a
outs.
fighting game. We could have
A
our own little
fighting game.
avatars. It's a bit like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
You know, but you could have Sparky versus Draycass. What would be your superpower in Mortal Epic Geeks? Which is what's
Getting
gonna be
really
called.
angry red and then red ringing the Xbox console. There you go.
Okay. Tom, what would be your superpower?
I don't know. I would say it's changing colour.
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God, you'd be the worst. You would be the worst. Well, whatever.
Tom is a chameleon.
Well, I'm going to have forks of lightning coming out of my hands.
Yeah.
That's going to be it.
Right.
Deadly. So I think that based on that, I'm going to win. While you're
Okay.
changing colours, I'm going to be electrocuting you.
Well, your Xbox is going to be broke, so...
Maybe it's not going to be on the Xbox, it's going to be on the PC game. So while you're sitting there red ringing my Xbox, I'll be beating you on the PC.
There you go. Confirmed. Epic Geeks game coming to a PC near you.
Funded by Kickstarter.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you can find Epic Geeks on Twitter, @epic_geeks, or on Facebook, the Epic Geeks. Was it just Epic Geeks? Epic Geeks. Just search Epic Geeks, you'll find it all. Or on our website. And
We
you
don't
can,
even know.
No, you can find Sparky. Where can we find you on the Twitter?
At Epic Dark Sparky.
With all 30 followers. Please go and follow Sparky.
Yes.
He's feeling a bit unloved on the social networks.
I just keep
And
insulting everyone.
yeah, Britzza Tom, where can we find you?
You can find me at Britzza_EG.
Oh, that's how you got round it.
Yeah, well, I had to because I Twitter won't let me have Britzza without proving that I've owned the name for a long period of time, and I haven't because I've changed the spelling. So you win, Twitter, but I claim the moral victory.
In that case, I'm going to have to change your... You didn't tell me you've changed your Twitter, so when I had your face up on the screen, it was coming up with your old Twitter account.
Well,
Is it the
follow
same
that
Twitter
person.
account?
Yeah, no, it's the same Twitter account. You'll find it.
Lovely. Okay, I'll change it later. So that's it. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to say to us, please either email us epicgeekspodcast@gmail.com or make a comment at the end of the video. If you're watching on YouTube, which you can find us on Official Epic Geeks, or just leave a comment anywhere, really, Twitter, something like that. I would like to say a big thank you to Jason Vincent on that note, which was meant to be at the top of the show, but because Tom and Sparky went off on a bit of a tangent, I completely forgot about it. He did put a comment on our YouTube video last week to say, glad to see you back. In 2000 I was 19. I think that was in a reference to something we were talking about, which I can't remember now what it was. In 2014 I played South Park, The Stick of Truth and WildStar. In 2015 I bought Final Fantasy VII on Steam for reliving some good memories. I'm not excited for any games coming out this year. I think I'm getting old. He's the same age as me. I'd like to point that out. He's one of those people.
I'm going to get so much hate mail for this.
Anyway,
I
so
will
thank
say
you to
that
Jason.
is. Sorry, I'm cutting off.
No, go on.
I was going to say that is one thing that deserves a Kickstarter: Final Fantasy VII remake. I'll back that all the way to the bank.
Yeah, and Sparky will be avoiding it like the plague.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. I'm going to stop rambling now because this outro's gone on ever. So, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
This podcast is part of the Epic Geeks Network. To find out more about our other gaming podcasts, head to epicgeeks.co.uk.